Okay, this is a short introduction video, all right, okay, into the engineering project. So the aim, or the overall aim, is to be able to keep records, specify a project, agree procedures, and choose a solution. And this is all for learning outcome 1. So underneath we have 1.1, 1.2 to 1.5, and then each one of these are broken down. All right, so we have our introduction, we have the notes. Now, what you basically, the bottom line is what you've got to do over the 2 years is create a project. Now, the project is open-ended, and by that I mean you have a 2-year window. However, it's all independent learning. It's all completely up to you. The design of the project and so on is your choice, your decision. Your instructor, whoever it is helping you, is just that, a helper, facilitator. All right, they have a guide. You are to hit specific milestones, all right, so we can carry out checks on your learning and also to make sure that you're keeping up with the work, all right, and not falling behind. But it's all student based, it's all student centric. So therefore you have got to run with it, not us. All right. So, as I said, it's all led by you. So, we've got to get prepared for this. So, the first bit is to create your logbook and a portfolio of evidence. Now, the logbook is a rough book. So, it can have handwritten notes in it, it can have sketches in it, it can have typed documents in it, photographs in it, it can have anything you like in it. It's a key piece of evidence that we'll need because it will show the changes that you've made to the project over the 2-year period. The other documents you need to create is basically a portfolio, and the portfolio of evidence is for all your finished work. So if you've created a report with photographs in it, very similar to the assignments that you've already done, you'll do that. Your first, you can read all this inside the Google Classroom, which is what we're going to be using. The first learning outcome is you have to carry out independent research from a range of sources to identify a project. Now, just to explain all the different weird and wonderful colours on this. The capital letters, or in bold and a bigger font, that is the learning outcome. The bit in blue has come from the awarding body. So that is as it's written in the delivery pack, and this is mirrored in your learner pack. Your learner packs will be available, and inside each learning outcome is listed with the different types of tasks that you've got to do. So there are 4 learning outcomes. There are 4 assignments stroke paperwork contained in the learner pack, and this is just a mirror image of that. This also gives you a little bit more of a steer. So what you've got to do is for your first one is carry out independent research on and use a minimum of 3 resources. Now, if you go back to the communication unit, you're going to be, or you've created a project where you were given an engineering problem, obviously the water mill, okay, producing water for a village, electricity, and all that sort of stuff, and you had to carry out your own research and you had to carry out resources. Now, you could have used the internet for that. You could have used the intranet. Right? You could have used books, journals, e-books, whatever. But part of the process was that you had to reference them correctly. This is exactly the same. You're carrying out your research, but you have to use a minimum of 3 resources. So you could use the internet, you could use journals, etc. And it's linked obviously to your Unit 2, Learning Outcome 3. So if you need a bit more guidance, revert back to that. All of this work should be shown in your logbook, so therefore it can be a bit rough. The second part is to prepare and maintain project records from concept through to solution. Now, all project managers and all project coordinators, controllers, whatever title they have, all right, even the assistants, you will have to create paperwork or be given paperwork, and you will need to maintain that paperwork from the initial start point or the general idea of a project, and then move straight through to its completion and when you hand over to your stakeholder. All right, your stakeholder is somebody who puts money into your project. So what you have to do is create and prepare documents that will allow students to explain the initial concepts and move through the project to its conclusion. So you're already creating a logbook. If you're going to take any photographs, you're going to do any drawings, you're going to do any sketches, Gantt charts. The world is your oyster on this. You can use whatever you like. Okay, the flow charts and everything are linked back to Unit 10, the production. All of that needs to be shown in your portfolio. You then have to take all the information that you've got and then you evaluate the potential project solution. So from all your research, you should have at least 3 potential project solutions. From that, you use all your documentation, and what you're doing is you're doing evaluating. So you're looking at all 3 of them, you're comparing them, you're contrasting them, you're looking at advantages, you're looking at disadvantages, and then formulating your final project solution. And that's the one you'll go with. Now, regarding the project overall, I should have said this slightly earlier. As this is an engineering course, your project has to have something to do with engineering. Now, engineering is a massive field, huge. So look at what you like doing. So some of you may play football, so try a little bit of an engineering thing, maybe a tool to take out studs or whatever, or different types of shoehorns to get your feet into your boots, different type of shin pad. All right, so there's some ideas. If you're into making furniture or whatever it is you're into, your hobbies, okay, think of a small problem and then try and form a solution for it. Okay, the only stipulation we have is that as you're in an engineering course, the project should be engineering based. Once you've gone through the first 3, you then select a project solution for development. So now you're going to go forward and you're going to develop it all. Now for this, it's a little bit tricky. Some of you may not have come across this before. You need to use data and spreadsheets. You need to do a bit more research. You need to do cost-benefit analysis. Okay, on all the resources required. You need to do the costings. Okay, we're talking about cash flow here. And then the final one is you need to do an analysis of need brief. Now, analysis of need is looking at a problem and then explaining why this product needs to be made. What are its benefits? So, for instance, we'll go with mobile goalposts, all right, for football or something like that. I'm not only doing goalposts because they're pretty easy. Somebody somewhere decided to put them on wheels and develop a process of being able to put them on wheels and move them around. The reason for that is because in community centres, if there were fixed goalposts, there were sometimes that they could be broken. By moving the goalposts, all right, and storing them somewhere safe, okay, it's more cost effective. They're not having to come in and replace goalposts and so on and so forth. All right, so there's little ideas like that. The final stage is agree and prepare procedures that will be followed when implementing the project solution. Okay, what you're finally going to do is produce a very short presentation, which I'm going to look at, or your instructor is going to look at, and then it's going to discuss on how you've allocated roles and responsibilities to people. So you need a team. How you have taken the decisions, why you've done such a thing, your planning of your budgets, how you plan to allocate the resources. So you're going to give Joe Bloggs 15,000 nails and 2 hammers. All right, but you're going to give George Smith one hammer, 50 nails for his task, so on and so forth. How you've allocated everything. And then you need to show the paperwork on how you're going to plan and control and implement your project over the 2 years. You'll see that there's small writing at the bottom, so show this in your portfolio, show this in your logbook, rough work and portfolio, etc. Okay, so follow those. They're a good hint. Now the final bit we've got, or to discuss on this short video, is the tracker. Now the tracker is exactly the same or very similar to what we've been using for the other units. However, the slight difference is this is just for one learning outcome, and I'll explain that in a moment. So you've got task 1, design a logbook and portfolio. Okay. Once you've done that, you email me. All right. And once you've emailed me, the work has been submitted, and then you put in the date of when you emailed me. You share your design logbook and portfolio with me as your, or put it into the shared folder. Make sure that I can see it, all right, so I can mark it or give you any hints. Once I have reviewed your work and made sure that it's all tickety-boo, I will then tick the box and date it. And we just follow that process all along to the bottom. Now if I move this across a little bit so you can see, we've then got milestone 1. Your milestone, or sort of deadline, is to have all of this done in the next 6 weeks, right? Which is the 28th of February. If you do it in the set procedure, bit by bit by bit, and you regularly submit it and I regularly mark it and so on, by the time we get to the milestone, it will be an automatic tick in the box and we move on to learning outcome 2. If you let it slip and you don't do the work, okay, when we get to the milestone, that box will remain unticked and there'll be a comment in there, did not achieve the deadline. At that point, I will be G'ing you up, all right, asking where your work is, what you've got to do, etc., etc. There'll be overall there will be 4 of these in a column. So you'll have learn outcome 1, learn outcome 2, learn outcome 3, and learn outcome 4. By the end of this academic year, we will be at learning outcome 2. That will be complete. Next year, your instructor or myself will be then putting up learning outcome 3 and learning outcome 4. Okay, now the end date overall is probably, we're looking at April in 2023. Once we get to April 2023, so Easter time, we can then mark your portfolios. You can be awarded a grade, or if you have any changes or any annotations to make, you have time before the end of the academic year to make them and then submit it. Now remember, do this in a logical sequence and just keep it on the back burner. If you get stuck, then please feel free to email us. What we don't want is students getting to the end of the 2 years or near to the end of the 2 years, or we get to April 2023 and then the learners go, rhubarb, I've not done the project. Because what will happen is you will go into what we commonly call flap mode, right? Like chickens. You'll put in any old work, hoping that it will pass, and that will be detrimental to your grade. All right, we want everybody to get a really good grade. Okay, this is mainly like the practical side of your course, so you need to put every effort into this and make it look good. The skills you learn on this unit alone will stand you in good stead in the future for leadership and management skills. All right, if you've got any questions, please feel free to email me.